these times.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Hollywood Remembers video. Today, we're honoring the American stars we've recently lost, along with other beloved figures who have touched our lives around the world. Before we dive in, if this video resonates with you, we'd truly appreciate a like. It helps us continue sharing these heartfelt tributes with the respect and care they deserve. Thank you for your support. And now, let's begin.
William Anthony Colón Roman, known to the world as Willie Colón, transformed the trombone into a bold voice of identity, pride, and resilience. Rising from the South Bronx, he carried the heartbeat of his community into the golden age of salsa, shaping a sound that resonated far beyond New York streets. Many will remember the first time his music filled a dance floor or a family gathering, those powerful brass lines and storytelling lyrics that spoke of struggle, dignity, and hope. In moments of social change, he stood not only as a musician, but as an advocate, reminding us that art can uplift and unite. His collaborations and productions helped define an era, yet it was his unwavering commitment to cultural expression that truly set him apart. Willie Colón did more than entertain. He preserved heritage, amplified voices, and inspired generations to honor their roots with pride. Today, his melodies still echo in homes, celebrations, and memories. They remind us of a time when music brought communities together and offered strength in uncertain days. His legacy endures not only in recordings, but in the hearts of those who found comfort and joy in his songs. As we reflect on his remarkable life, let us celebrate the lasting harmony he leaves behind. How did Willie Colón's music touch your life or your family's story? Share your memories and keep his spirit alive through the stories and songs that continue to inspire us all.
Eric William Dane was a commanding presence on screen, remembered by many as Dr. Mark Sloan on Grey's Anatomy, where charm and vulnerability met in unforgettable moments of grace. His portrayal of Captain Tom Chandler in The Last Ship revealed quiet strength in times of crisis, while his later role in Euphoria showed a depth that resonated with audiences across generations. For countless viewers, it was not only his striking presence, but the humanity he brought to his characters that lingered long after the credits rolled. Whether in scenes of tenderness, courage, or personal reckoning, Eric Dane reminded us that complexity is part of the human story. His career reflected dedication to craft and an ability to evolve with changing times, earning admiration from colleagues and fans alike. Through decades of television, he became a familiar and comforting figure in living rooms around the world. As we reflect on his life and work, we honor not just the roles he played, but the emotions he stirred and the conversations he sparked. His performances continued to live on, inviting us to revisit the stories that moved us. How did Eric Dane's work touch your life or your family's evenings together? Share your memories and reflections, and let us celebrate a legacy that remains vivid, heartfelt, and enduring.
Jesse Louis Jackson stood as a steadfast voice for justice, faith, and human dignity. Guided in his early years by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., he rose to become one of the most influential civil rights leaders of our time. From the pulpit to the public square, he spoke with conviction, calling a nation to live up to its highest ideals. Many remember his powerful speeches that stirred hearts and awakened consciences, reminding us that hope is strongest when joined with action. His leadership in moments of social change gave courage to those who felt unheard and inspired generations to believe in the promise of equality. Through decades of advocacy, Reverend Jackson demonstrated that perseverance and faith can shape history. He bridged communities, championed opportunity, and urged Americans to see one another not as strangers, but as neighbors, bound by shared humanity. His legacy lives on in the progress achieved and in the ongoing pursuit of justice he so passionately advanced. As we reflect on his remarkable life, we honor the moral clarity and compassion he brought to public life. His words continue to echo, inviting us to stand firm in fairness and unity. How did Jesse Jackson's leadership or message touch your life or your understanding of our shared history? Share your memories and reflections, and let us celebrate a life devoted to service, dignity, and enduring hope.
There is a particular steadiness in Clint Black that has less to do with charts and stages, and more to do with the quiet discipline of remaining himself while the world shifts around him. In an industry known for reinvention and spectacle, he has carried something far more difficult to sustain: continuity. Not stubbornness, not resistance to change, but a calm understanding of who he is and what he was meant to offer. That constancy has become one of his most defining traits, and it is perhaps the reason his presence feels so reassuring to those who have followed him across decades. Country music has moved through many seasons. Sounds have sharpened, softened, blended, and expanded. Yet within those currents, Clint Black has maintained a recognizable voice, not merely the timbre of it, though that remains distinct, but the moral and emotional clarity that shaped his earliest recordings. When he emerged nationally at the end of the 1980s, he did so with songs that felt rooted, deliberate, and crafted rather than manufactured. The success that followed could have redirected him toward whatever trend promised the brightest spotlight. Instead, he held steady. This steadiness is not accidental. It reflects a musician who writes with intention, who understands the architecture of a song, who respects the tradition he inherited. There is a craftsman's patience in the way he builds melody and meaning. Each lyric seems weighed, each phrase allowed to settle before it is offered. That careful approach has given his music a durability that transcends the moment of its release. Many artists capture a season. Clint Black captures something less bound by time. For audiences who have grown older alongside him, this consistency carries emotional weight. Life brings change. Families expand. Careers evolve. Losses are endured. Celebrations are cherished. Through all of it, there is comfort in returning to a voice that has not been overtaken by fashion. Listening to him is not an exercise in nostalgia alone. It is an encounter with reliability. He stands as a reminder that growth does not require abandoning one's foundation. His stage presence mirrors this inner continuity. There is no frantic need to astonish. He performs with the assurance of someone who trusts the material and trusts the listeners. The connection is not forced. It unfolds naturally. He does not chase attention. He commands it quietly, through competence and sincerity. In a culture often drawn to extremes, that restraint feels almost radical. Constancy, however, should never be mistaken for simplicity. Beneath his measured delivery lies a deep understanding of human experience. His songs speak of commitment, of personal responsibility, of devotion tested and affirmed. They honor everyday resilience rather than dramatic upheaval. That thematic loyalty has created a body of work that feels cohesive, as though each album were another chapter in an ongoing conversation about life's enduring values. Over the years, recognition has come in the form of awards, accolades, and industry respect. Yet those markers, while significant, do not fully explain his place in American music. His true distinction rests in the quiet bond formed with listeners who find their own stories reflected in his. The applause fades after each performance, but the songs remain in kitchens, in long car rides, in the gentle spaces of memory. Clint Black represents the rare artist who understands that staying true can be more powerful than constantly transforming. His career is not defined by sudden pivots but by a steady unfolding, and in that unfolding, there is dignity. It is the dignity of a man who has allowed time to refine him without erasing the essential qualities that first drew people near. In remaining himself, he has given others permission to do the same. Long before the arenas and national broadcasts, There was a young man in Texas listening carefully to the language of songs. Clint Black did not arrive in country music as an overnight sensation detached from its roots. He came shaped by them. Growing up in Houston, he absorbed the sounds that traveled across radios and through family gatherings, internalizing not only melody but structure. He studied how a verse prepares the heart and how a chorus releases it. That early attentiveness would later define his songwriting with remarkable precision. By the time he stepped into professional studios, he was not simply a singer looking for material. He was a writer determined to speak in his own cadence. When A Better Man introduced him to a national audience in 1989, it carried the clarity of someone who understood both tradition and timing. The song's emotional directness did not rely on grandiosity. It leaned into honesty. That balance between classic sensibility and contemporary polish marked his arrival as part of the movement that revitalized country music at the turn of the decade. Success followed swiftly. Albums climbed charts, awards accumulated, and his name began appearing alongside the most respected figures of his era. Yet even in those early years of momentum, there was evidence of restraint. He co-wrote much of his own catalogue, ensuring that the voice audiences heard was not merely performing someone else's experience, but articulating his own reflections. That authorship mattered. It anchored his fame to authenticity. The 1990s proved expansive for him. Tours stretched across the country, collaborations emerged, and his music resonated with listeners navigating their own chapters of love, regret, hope, and renewal. He sang about responsibility without sounding moralistic, about romance without exaggeration. There was maturity in his perspective, even as he was still building his career. He seemed less interested in chasing novelty than in perfecting craft. Amid professional growth, his personal life also found stability. His marriage to actress Lisa Hartman in 1991 became a visible testament to commitment in an industry often marked by impermanence. Their occasional musical collaborations revealed a softer dimension, one grounded in partnership rather than persona. Together, they projected an image of shared purpose that deepened public affection for him. As the decade progressed and musical trends shifted, Clint Black continued to adapt without surrendering his core identity. Production styles evolved, but his lyrical integrity remained intact. He demonstrated that evolution need not dismantle foundation. It can simply refine it. Each album felt less like a departure and more like an extension, broadening his palette while preserving his unmistakable tone. Looking back at those formative years, one sees not just a rise to prominence, but the deliberate shaping of a career built to endure. The applause of the early 1990s has long since blended into memory, yet the songs from that period still circulate with vitality. They remind listeners of a time when country music found renewed confidence, and of a young Texan who stepped forward not with spectacle, but with steady conviction. There comes a point in every enduring career when the measure of success shifts from momentum to meaning. For Clint Black, that shift did not arrive with fanfare. It unfolded gradually, almost imperceptibly, as the years layered themselves over early triumphs. The headlines that once tracked chart positions gave way to something quieter, the realization that his songs had woven themselves into the personal histories of millions. In that realization lies a different kind of achievement, one that cannot be quantified. By the early 2000s, the musical landscape had changed once again. New voices, new production styles, and new platforms began shaping the direction of country music. Many artists from his generation faced a choice: chase the changing sound or stand firmly in the space they had cultivated. Clint Black chose a path of thoughtful balance. He explored independent releases, embraced creative control, and focused on projects that reflected his own artistic compass rather than external expectations. This period revealed a deeper dimension of his character. Independence in the music industry requires courage. It demands belief not only in one's talent, but in one's audience. By stepping beyond major label structures, he signaled trust in the listeners who had remained with him. That trust was reciprocated. Concert halls continued to fill, not with curiosity seekers, but with individuals who had grown older alongside his music and felt a personal stake in its continuation. At the same time, his public presence broadened. Appearances on television, participation in collaborative performances, and ventures into acting displayed versatility. Yet even as he explored these avenues, there was no sense of reinvention for its own sake. Each endeavor felt aligned with the steady identity he had always presented. He did not chase novelty, he embraced opportunity with composure. Perhaps most striking during these middle years was the deepening warmth in his performances. Experience has a way of softening edges. When he sang about devotion or resilience, there was added resonance, an understanding born not just from youthful observation but from lived experience. His voice carried traces of time, not as wear, but as texture. It spoke with the authority of someone who had navigated both acclaim and uncertainty without losing equilibrium. The audiences, too, had changed. Many now arrived at his concerts with grown children or even grandchildren. His music had become a bridge between generations, passed down like a cherished photograph or a family story. In these gatherings, one could sense something rare, a shared acknowledgement of continuity in a world often defined by rapid turnover. Clint Black's middle decades illustrate that longevity is not sustained by clinging to past glory. It is sustained by honoring one's essence while allowing life to add depth. He demonstrated that an artist can mature publicly without diminishing relevance. The applause may not roar as loudly as it once did in the earliest surge of fame, but it resonates more deeply, enriched by years of shared memory. Now, in the maturity of his life and career, Clint Black stands not as a figure preserved in memory, but as a living presence who continues to create, to perform, and to embody a particular kind of American steadiness. There is something profoundly reassuring about witnessing an artist who has not withdrawn into recollection, but remains engaged, attentive, and generous with his craft. The years have not diminished his connection to music. They have clarified it. Time has a way of revealing what was essential all along. In Clint Black's case, it reveals a man who built his career on intention rather than impulse. That intention is visible in the way he still approaches a stage. The gestures are measured, the humor dry and unforced, the musicianship precise. He does not perform as someone chasing relevance. He performs as someone who understands that relevance, when grounded in truth, does not expire. There is also a visible gratitude that accompanies him now. It is not theatrical, not overstated, but present in subtle expressions and in the way he acknowledges the audience. Gratitude from an artist of his stature carries particular weight. It signals awareness that a career is not sustained by talent alone, but by loyalty, by listeners who purchased albums, attended concerts, and carried songs into their private lives. That mutual devotion forms a quiet covenant between performer and public. His collaborations with his wife and appearances alongside his daughter have added another layer to his public life. These moments are not promotional gestures. They reflect genuine integration of family and vocation. In sharing the stage with those closest to him, he demonstrates that success need not isolate. It can, when approached with care, create space for shared experience. For many who watch, that image resonates deeply, offering a vision of balance rarely highlighted in the entertainment world. Clint Black's continued activity also speaks to resilience. The music industry has undergone seismic transformation, digital distribution, streaming platforms, shifting audience habits, yet he has navigated these changes without surrendering identity. Adaptation, in his hands, has meant learning new tools while preserving old values. He records, tours, and engages with audiences through modern channels, but the core remains intact, carefully written songs, thoughtfully delivered. For those who have followed him across decades, seeing him active today carries a particular emotional resonance. It affirms that the voices shaping one's earlier years are not confined to the past. They remain present, evolving, still capable of offering comfort and insight. His career becomes less a timeline of achievements and more a continuum of shared experience. In honoring Clint Black at this stage, one honors more than a catalogue of music. One honors endurance shaped by integrity. He has shown that constancy can coexist with growth, that public life can be conducted without spectacle, and that artistry rooted in sincerity possesses uncommon strength. He continues not as an echo of former acclaim, but as a steady current flowing through the changing landscape of American music, dignified and unmistakably his own.